But with that, we'll get started. Typical kind of format as every other Epoch review. So we'll spend the next 15, 20 minutes just walking through key highlights from Epoch 4. And then we'll open it up to the community AMA section. Today on stage, you have myself, David Gogel from the dYdX Foundation, and then Corey, Paul, and Mark from the dYdX trading team, and then excited to have Josh, who will be our moderator and is part of the dYdX Foundation team as well. So just to go over, we're kicking things off with Epoch 4 highlights, walking through kind of various KPIs and metrics over the course of Epoch 4, which ended last week. So total volume on the layer 2 protocol over the course of the Epoch surpassed $61 billion, with average daily volume at around 2.2 billion. This volume relative to Epoch 3 declined slightly, in line with kind of broader volumes within the market. Ending open interest also declined to about 1 billion, while total value locked increased to 943 million. Over the course of Epoch 4, there was 7.2 thousand unique wallets that earned 5.8 million dYdX through various trading, liquidity provider, and staking rewards. In total, there's now about 43,000 unique wallets that have previously earned dYdX rewards from retroactive trading and liquidity mining rewards programs. Today, there's about 21,000 unique wallets that currently hold dYdX and about 1,000 unique wallets that currently hold staked dYdX. In terms of the LP liquidity provider rewards, there were 15 addresses that were eligible for LP rewards over the course of Epoch 4, with the majority earned by 2 market makers. This is a trend that we've continued to see. Competition in the pool is still strong, and we are seeing a lot more market makers participate and earn rewards, especially after the last proposal to reduce the maker volume threshold to 1%, which occurred in a prior Epoch. Looking forward in Epoch 5, there's 16 addresses, so 13 existing market makers, and then 3 new market makers that did more than 1% of maker volume over the course of Epoch 4, and therefore are now eligible to participate in the LP rewards program over the course of Epoch 5. With regards to the liquidity staking pool, so there was 711 million USDC staked to this pool over the course of Epoch 4 from 862 unique stakers. 4 market makers have successfully tested and borrowed USDC from the staking pool. We did see large requests to withdraw over the course of Epoch 4. At the start of Epoch 5, there's now 502 million USDC staked to the pool and earning dYdX rewards. I think the dynamics, a large whale continues to account for a majority of the USDC stake here, but it is encouraging to see a lot of different stakers, 862 unique stakers stake USDC to this pool, and starting to see, market makers use that capital to drive more liquidity to the broader dYdX markets. With regards to the safety module, we saw at the end of Epoch 4, 36 million dYdX staked from 1,025 unique stakers to the safety module. Obviously, over the course of last Epoch, there was a lot of community feedback with regards to venture investors staking their locked dYdX token to this pool. That feedback was communicated to those venture investors who requested to withdraw that dYdX or those locked dYdX to the staking pool. And so at the start of Epoch 5, there's about 11 million dYdX staked in the pool, earning dYdX rewards. So that explains kind of the big shift between 36 million dYdX staked at the end of last epoch versus 11 million dYdX staked at the start of the current epoch. In terms of circulating supply, there's after the rewards will be claimable later tomorrow, there will be 7.76% of the total dYdX supply, which will be considered liquid. And so this excludes the unearned retroactive rewards that were transferred to the treasury, as well as the dYdX vested into the community treasury. When you account for both the when you include the liquid supply, invested supply within the community treasury, there's now 10.61% of dYdX, which we consider as being liquid and circulating. With regards to governance, I think last epoch we saw a lot of really active discussions and proposals throughout the forums. I think most notably the community voted strongly in favor of launching the dYdX grants program, which was submitted by Reverie. A snapshot vote was held, which had kind of overwhelming support. Encourage everyone in the community to take a look at the snapshot and the discussion on Commonwealth. But just to summarize, Reverie's proposal calls for 6.25 million of community treasury funds to be allocated to launch the dYdX grants committee, multi-sig to fund a list of potential ideas that help drive the overall ecosystem. There's an active list of projects and ideas that the Reverie team has submitted in the form of RFPs that really help drive broader ecosystem growth. I think generally speaking, it was great to see kind of the community have very active discussion and feedback and participate in the off-chain vote. Just as a reminder, this type of governance decision will require an on-chain vote. And the Reverie team has indicated that they are planning to submit an on-chain vote to fund this grants program in the near future or at the start of early next year. So that was one major development I think on the governance side over the course of last epoch. The other major governance update really relates to the community voting strongly in favor of adjusting the trading and liquidity providers rewards formulas to increase rewards for stakers of dYdX. Again, this vote, there was a vote on Snapshot where a lot of smaller token holders participated. I think over 300 or so unique voters voted in favor of passing this proposal. And again, this proposal basically changed the formulas for trading rewards and LP rewards, and includes an incentive to hold stake dYdX as a way to earn a booster on trading and LP rewards. So overall, I think these are two prime examples of broad community feedback and just the types of governance proposals that help drive the community and governance over the protocol forward. I think these are also both great roadmaps for other community members who are interested in participating in governance to really understand, how to draft a proposal and submit a proposal throughout the overall life cycle. And so encourage everyone to take a look at those threads and keep an eye out for any future proposals that will get submitted over the course of Epoch 5. And then lastly, just in terms of logistics, so Epoch 4 ended on December 21st at 3 p.m. UTC. As per usual, every Epoch lasts exactly 28 days. Epoch 4 rewards will be claimable on the website on December 29th at midnight, at approximately midnight and 12:08 a.m. UTC. That's exactly 7 days after the end of the epoch, plus a 9-hour delay. Once tokens have been claimed, they can be transferred, staked to the safety module, or delegated to dYdX governance. Excited to again see this adjustment to the trading rewards and LP rewards to now factor in stake dYdX. Just a reminder that as you claim your rewards, rewards that are earned can be claimed into perpetuity. You can wait for gas fees to be lower, but the rewards will be claimable in approximately 30 hours from this current moment. So that's it. Overall, I think really strong results over the course of Epoch 4. I think continued to be encouraged by community participation, driving growth for the overall protocol. I think results, whether it's volume or number of active users over the course of Epoch 4 are slightly down relative to Epoch 3, but I think that is very much in line with broader market trends and overall continuing to be encouraged by the level of engagement and all of the exciting products and announcements that are in the pipeline for Q1 2022. So with that, I think that concludes at least the prepared remarks here. As per usual, we'll be posting the Epoch 4 review blog post on our blog if it's not up there already. And then we'll also be recording this AMA and providing a transcript on our blog as well. So yeah, that's really what I have prepared for kind of prepared remarks here. Again, if at this time, if anyone from the audience has any questions, feel free to write them in either the discussion channel or in the Epoch 4 review and community AMA channel, and we'll be happy to address any of those. Also, if anyone has any questions and wants to be brought on stage, happy to do that as well. So I see one question here. Will options be available on dYdX? I think, Corey, maybe you want to take this and talk a little bit about just the products and kind of what's in store there.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the moment, the trading team is focused on creating the best possible for perpetuals. As we look towards, the next version of the protocol, options is certainly on the table. And I think ideally we kind of want dYdX to be a go-to place to trade all types of derivative contracts. So options, data futures, things like that. But at the moment, perpetuals only. All the other types of derivative contracts are
Awesome. Other question is, when is it expected for the grants program to kick off? So I addressed this a little bit in the prepared remarks, but the grants program is really following kind of the full life cycle of a proposal, which we have really extensive documentation on Gitbook and on Commonwealth. Effectively for this type of proposal, right? There was active discussion on Commonwealth, and then there was a dYdX request for comment, a DRC that was submitted, and then a snapshot poll was submitted, which is an off-chain gasless poll, but that does pull existing token holders at the time of the snapshot. Again, that passed with overwhelming support. The last step for this type of proposal to get funded is for any community member, but probably Reverie, who was really the driver of this proposal, to submit a dYdX improvement proposal, i.e. a DIP, which is a formal, on-chain proposal. Um, again, this type of proposal requires a transfer of dYdX from the community treasury to a multisig. And so for that type of proposal, you need an on-chain vote to make the change or the call to the smart contract. Again, it's really up to the Reverie team on when they want to submit the proposal. But given kind of the holiday, we expect that to be, early in the new year. So probably sometime next week or after that. But really, excited by the level of enthusiasm so far, and excited to see what the community decides to vote on in that ultimate outcome. Again, this type of proposal would require a short time lock vote. So that's a 4-day voting period, 5 million dYdX to submit the proposal, and then a 20 million dYdX quorum. So this type of vote does require, again, an on-chain vote, but we expect that to happen in the near future. Next question is, any updates on the research decentralization? Any plans to include the broader community in the process? Corey, do you want to take this one?
Sorry, can you repeat the question one more time?
Any updates on the research decentralization? Any plans to include the broader community in the process?
Got it. Yeah, so decentralization research is definitely coming along. I'd say the research team continues to look at a few different options at the moment. I'd say in terms of working with the broader community on this, I'd say initially it'll probably be dYdX working with a variety of top researchers, both internal and external in the space. And then once we've kind of finalized the plans and have made, quite a lot of progress on the development side of things, we'll then start to include the community and get people kind of rallying around it and share a lot more info once it's available.
Next question is, when are markets being added? Yes, over the course of Epoch 4, we did see a few new contracts being added or a few new markets. I think generally speaking, new markets are at this point in the hands of the community. Any new market has to be added to the smart contract and the protocol. There is a thread on Commonwealth about what a process around new markets would look like. I think so far there's just been a lot of one-off threads on adding new markets without necessarily adding kind of a business case around that. Ultimately, we encourage the community to continue to prioritize and vote and discuss which assets to be listed. I think ultimately the goal here is to list the markets that people want to trade, that there's consistent feedback from users, that there's active volume for those markets. But encourage you to take a look at the post on Commonwealth that kind of lays out a structure and an approach for the community to list new markets and what that could look like. I think one additional thread that I would encourage you to look at is the thread that Wintermute kind of put together and kind of a recommendation for putting together a committee to evaluate the markets and how to kind of prioritize that. Again, the foundation really isn't, is neutral in terms of what the approach should be, but encourage the community to have discussions around what's the best process to add new markets to the smart contract and what that could look like.
and just to piggyback on that, there are some contracts that are already on the same contract. So we'll probably relaunch or start to launch more of these starting early next year. Again, there are only some. They're all of those markets are in the Commonwealth Coast that David was referring to. So there are some that we don't need actual votes on yet. More of those in early next year. But yeah, as David noted, for kind of like the newer markets and things like that, we'll definitely need to formulate a process with the community, and those will all have to go through votes.
Again, if anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hand and we'll bring you up on stage. Feel free to write them directly in the Epoch 4 review and community AMA discussion thread. I think we've addressed most of the ones that have come through so far, but this really is your opportunity to have an open and frank discussion with the team. Cool. I mean, I'm not seeing kind of any additional questions. So again, if anything comes up, feel free to ping any of the admins on Discord. A recording of this will be posted on our blog. Certainly, if anyone in the community has any feedback around running these community AMAs or anything that we can do to improve kind of transparency, also welcome any feedback to increase engagement and help address questions that keep coming up. Then one more question on, are you able to provide examples of the data futures you just referenced? I'm not exactly sure what that question means. Sorry, in Josh's commentary. Got it. I think the question relates to creating a new listing groups, which is a thread on Commonwealth. Again, this thread was submitted by Evgeny at Wintermute, calling for creating a new listings group. Again, I guess dollar bill, I encourage you to kind of read through the post and ask Evgeny directly what he means here. Wintermute and the community is really kind of driving the process. So kind of ask the court directly for clarification here. But again, I think there's an attempt by Wintermute to try to create a process around adding new markets. Ultimately, there's various factors that they're considering, i.e., there's regulatory approval from dYdX Trading Inc. around what markets to list. There's commercials around, where is there public interest, and so for that is this a market where there's active trading volume, specifically in perpetuals. The third is really around market making support. So again, for any new market that's added, how much liquidity for that market and market makers are actually actively willing to trade that market is another factor. And then lastly, for any market added on dYdX, you need Oracle data and a reliable Oracle source to price the market. So really encourage the community to think through kind of these 4 different factors, which are all considerations for adding new markets and putting together more thorough analysis and just around how to prioritize adding new markets. Again, there's a process that kind of has to be followed, but ultimately open to encourage the community to really spearhead and drive kind of this process and think through and analyze the issues in an open format on Commonwealth. I think the last thing I'll mention is dYdX Trading is running a content competition that was extended until December 31st. So there's still kind of 4 more days. you can submit different pieces of content and earn very large sums of or funds in USDC for creating content about dYdX. So definitely encourage everyone to take a look at that. And then, lastly, again, Epoch 4 ended last week. The rewards will be claimable on the governance dashboard um, uh, in in about 30 hours or so. Again, that's 7 days after the end of the epoch plus a 9-hour delay. And then, again, once tokens have been claimed, they can be transferred, staked, or delegated to dYdX governance. Seeing one more question, where I think this one is probably best for you, but are there going to be any more trading competitions?
Yeah. Absolutely. We definitely are going to launch more trading competitions. In terms of like new products, we're actually pretty excited about a new product that we've been actively working on, which will likely launch either late January or early February. And this will be relating to trading competition, but the form will be a little less. We're really excited about launching it, and think everyone else will be as well. Just stay tuned for that.
Cool. Great questions, everyone. We're at the half-hour mark. I think it seems like we've gone through kind of all the community questions here. Again, if anything else comes up, feel free to ping any of the admins on Discord or ask any questions on Commonwealth. We'll be hosting these community AMA calls, at the end of every epoch. And with that, wish everyone a very happy New Year, happy holidays, and enjoy hopefully a little time off before a very exciting New Year. With that, thanks everyone.